Alright, welcome back. Sorry for that quick interruption, but we are right back here into this game. Joining me is the man, the myth, the legend. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Sims, Ryan Papa Sims. Some might know me as. And, we're ready to start this game off right. We're going to be going through the same pick and ban as it was, as you saw a minute ago. And so, just quick little intermission, bang, 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 ready to know what's going to be happening, get into the game.
Yep, and same band's going down. What did you think of, oh, actually, I'm not really sure if you saw it, but the team comp really, let's see, let's reset there. The team comp really favored UT Rio Grande Valley in the last game. They had an insanely team-oriented, utility-oriented, and kind of protect the hypercarry late-game Tristana-oriented team comp, which is what they've been rolling with this entire tournament. A little bit of a Tarek, Tristana, Sejuani, Maokai, and I believe it was Syndra. That was the last.
Syndra in the mid lane, yeah.
Yes, there it is.
So it's definitely going to be interesting. They got a lot of strong picks. Tanks are, obviously pretty strong in the meta right now, especially I'd put Sejuani towards, the top, potentially even S tier, the junglers right now. And so she can definitely do some damage with that. It doesn't look like Warwick's going to be able to get picks on anyone aside from really the Syndra, because I doubt Tristana's going to be roaming anywhere without her boyfriend Tarek.
Yeah, it looks like that Warwick will be in the jungle. We have lane Jarvan, and the second ban phase is coming out. I didn't have quite as close as a look as I did before, but that Warwick pick, kind of questionable. We'll have to see how it works out. Maybe they'll have some really good early pressure in the early game versus the weak-ish late game of Rio Grande Valley.
And you can never count out the Jarvan Galio combo. If you can get that timed right, it can just be devastating and completely turn a team fight around.
Yeah, and it looks like Rio Grande Valley also banning out those hyper carries. We'll have to see what UT El Paso has to say about it during the game, because so far, team comp wise, looks like it's going towards Rio Grande Valley.
And it's interesting looking at the picks. And so obviously you got the meta bans, the Kog'Maw, the Nunu, and Nami's even a very powerful support right now. But the one that I find most interesting is the Shaco ban. Nothing is scarier than a really strong Shaco, and so they must have done their homework to find out about that.
Yeah, they definitely target ban that away. It looks like the jungler will be Maximum Magnus, and from the looks of it, it looks like he's a melee-heavy, assassin-oriented 1v1 pick type jungler from that Shaco target ban, because I'm not really sure if he's meta. I don't think he has been for a while there. Yeah, pretty much. But Warwick, with that not-so-new rework and that update, we'll have to see how that works in the lanes. It looks like they will be going for a pick-heavy team comp with that Thresh, that Xayah, as well as the Jarvan with the Cataclysm, and the Flag and Drag.
Absolutely, and you can never underestimate not necessarily the engage, but the potential that you have with those Thresh hooks. If you really need to worry about your spacing and be cognizant of where the minion lane is.
Yeah, but it looks like Rio Grande Valley is going to be trying to push this towards the mid and late game. Either way, they look like they'll be winning with those ults, and it looks like last second, Elvin, the Syndra for Rio Grande Valley, actually opts for heal. So we have 2 heals going down and no ignite on that team versus a Warwick as well as a Galio. So that may be a problem. We might see Merlin Alcon or an Executioner's Calling to deal with that later in the game, but as of now, we have the game going underway.
Especially if that Warwick gets fed early game, and he starts being tailored towards more of a duelist style of play. The lifesteal on him is just absolutely nutty.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely look out for those early ganks with the Warwick. Put some limelight on him, that camera on him, because if he does not make plays in this early game, Warwick might just fall off at the 15-minute mark.
Especially compared to a Sejuani, because Sejuani's pretty passive all in all, but she scales well into the late game. You get some health on her, and she really starts to do some damage, because I believe her E does percent health. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it does. And so a lot of damage coming out from that.
Yeah, definitely. And the amount of utility on Rio Grande Valley's team. It is pretty scary. I think I actually casted a game where they have this exact same team comp, and it is pretty terrifying seeing 5 people barrel down mid lane with Cosmic Radiance on top of all of them, and being absolutely invincible for the initial engage of the team comp.
You can't get an ace if your entire team's invincible, you know? It's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, but I think it was... okay, so it was UT San Antonio that I casted a game where it was UT San Antonio versus Texas Christian University, and they had a very similar team comp, but the CC and I believe they also had a Jarvan was a little bit too much. During the team fights, they were crawling their way back in most of the mid-game parts where they were down around 5,000-6,000 gold, and really CC is the key to countering that Cosmic Radiance. They had an Alistar, and that Pulverize is just too much. That knock-up duration is just too much for the Cosmic Radiance, and let's be honest, it's not too broken, but we honestly might be seeing a nerf in the near future because that Taric is really strong.
As it just comes back to what you're saying is the utility that their team provides, and a lot of that stems from how versatile Target is with his heal, with his snares or stuns rather, and you know, knock on top of that an ultimate that does AoE invulnerability. It makes it pretty tricky to combat.
Yep, and we'll definitely be looking at UT Paso for the action, the plays and the picks. Their team comp is basically saying, we're gonna have some crazy picks, we're gonna have some crazy ganks. You guys be ready because they have an all-out pick comp. It looks like Rio Grande Valley has that full team comp oriented. It's pretty streamlined comp. You can see where they're going with it. Team fight game, late game oriented, and it's really up to UT El Paso to be making those plays.
I think one of the big points of emphasis El Paso is going to have in this beginning is trying to get that Jarvan ahead. You don't really want him to go even against this Maokai because the tankiness that they're just going to have is going to be a lot to handle in the late game.
Yeah, definitely, and the Galio is really the only one who's going to be oh wow, I cannot speak, but he will be trying to match up against that Maokai in the top lane. It's going to be a little bit of a wet noodle fight up in the top lane, tank versus tank, and they're just going to be both hoping to scale up, and Galio with the Guardian's Call and teleporting around the map with his ultimate as well as teleport. That's going to be something to look out for. Some forced across the map 5v5s and just early plays in general.
Something you know, all the viewers at home get a little bit of a treat. We get to see Earthwick, which is quite a rare skin. You know, it used to be what started out as what was an April Fool's Day prank. Came back when they switched over from IP to Blue Essence, and you know, it'll be fun to see that skin.
Yeah, definitely. I actually thought I was going to get way more IP during that update, but I got kind of a low amount. I was a little bit disappointed, not gonna lie. I wanted that Earthwick skin, as well as the other skins that basically tell everyone, yeah, I wasted a bunch of time on this game and have a ton of leftover money and need an IP sync.
It was really cool of them to do that, to bring back that really limited edition skin and still really tailoring it towards the hardcore veteran players.
Yeah, Riot straight went on an entire tear, an entire streak, just destroying and killing all the memes, all of the memes from the League of Legends community, one by one, from IP syncs to random nerfs, buffs, and quality of life changes. Riot's actually been going hard.
The most important thing, though, Graves got his cigar back.
Oh, he did? I actually did not see that.
He got his cigar back.
That's amazing. And here we have pings coming down already. The game is getting right underway, and
looks like we're gonna have El Paso coming in with a pretty aggressive start towards the bottom.
Yep, UT Rio Grande Valley just setting up with a standard defensive play, but sending all 5 of their team members to the bot lane. This could have been bad if El Paso just decided to steal that blue buff away and then invade the top side, but they seem to be the ones playing the safe strats right now, and it doesn't look like either team is going to go for any type of play right here. It looks like Rio Grande Valley is just going to disperse after this one.
They might be just trying to do a preventative Fnatic bush in case El Paso was trying to do an invade. They'd just be able to jump on him because they do have a lot of early game CC with the Targ Snare, with Maokai could have started his W in the event that they got invaded on. And they might have been able to pick up an easy first blood, but El Paso, they stayed true and, you know, they stayed conservative.
Yeah, they might have actually done their research, El Paso, maybe watching some old VODs of Real Grand Valley, because now that I remember testing one of their old games, they actually snuck on Texas Tech with that same bush strat. Now that I remember it, it was a huge brawl, level 1 brawl, and I believe 3 or 4 kills got traded in that entire exchange just because they bushwookied and waited for an invade just by random chance.
That's the importance of doing your homework, man. You gotta be preventative with it.
Yeah, definitely. And right away we see Maximum Magnus going for the early clear. It looks like he's actually going a little bit faster. He's going to hit that level 3 before Aria Quadra because she's opted to go straight from red buff to blue buff. Not going to let... Actually, really smart. Not going to try and... Gonna try and not let Maximum Magnus get off that first gank because she already has double buffs.
Even though she did go straight from buff to buff, it looks like she's going for the Grump just because it's a little bit easier to take in the earlier stages as a Sejuani. But it looks like Maokai's actually pushed up a little bit, and so she's not going to be able to get that gank off. But as Warg is moving towards the top side, that's something to be concerned about.
Yeah, we will be seeing a 2v1 right here. Sejuani's blindly doing that Scuttle Crab, but he is coming in right now. Twisted advance onto Jarvan, snaring him away. The Flag and Drag is down, but red buff is procced onto Terrant Moon. He's going to try and run for his life. And the preemptive flash from Maximum wait, he didn't even flash. That was Terrant Moon's flash. He just got way ahead of him. That was amazing. What a great play by Maximum Magnus. We had our doubts. Well, I had my doubts, and he is proving me wrong right here with that early level 2 or level 3 gank and forcing the flash as well as getting that first blood for El Paso.
Not only the first blood, but also forces out the teleport from the Maokai. So that's going to be an important objective, or really summoner spell down for at least the next couple of minutes. And so depending on how far up, you know, we can get El Paso to push, they could try and force a dragon in the early stages.
Yeah, definitely. And just as you're saying that, their bot lane is actually pushing up right to the tower. There's no wards behind them quite yet, but we could see a 3v2, maybe 4v2 potentially if we get a teleport and a jungler down there. And they could reap the rewards of that dragon in an early tower push.
As we were saying, though, in Champ Select, that it was important to get that focused topside, to get that Jarvan ahead, and sure enough, that's what they started to do. That was their game plan from the start, it seemed like.
Yeah, they really need that scaling early on that Jarvan because, well, Jarvan is not as much of a brick wall as Maokai is in that late game. And it looks like Galio mid, actually, so we're definitely going to be seeing that anti-mage Galio mid and denying all kill pressure from Elvin straight away just because, well, Galio, that's what he was designed to do. It's actually amazing how they design characters earlier into the game. It's a lot simpler. 3 damage abilities, maybe 1 mobility ability. Just rely on, like, old summer spells, you know, Surge and that kind of thing. But Lantern is going down here. Maximum Magnus gets the hook onto Taric, and the Warwick gank looking to succeed here. They ignite, and the flash, he burns another flash from alternate time, but Sejuani here with a response. Can they get the 3v3 down? Teleport coming out, that's what you were just talking about. The Maokai does not have teleport to follow that up, so they're going to have to give away that engage for free. They could not capitalize on that, otherwise it would be a 3v4.
And that was just, it was really good play all around. You know, we had the Sejuani and the Syndra rotating as soon as they saw that the gank was being activated, and so they rotated down and stopped what could have been much more of a win for El Paso.
Yeah, but that early gank coming out from Maximum Magnus and that top lane denying that teleport early from Terrant Moon, and now Flash is down for alternate time, the Taric down bot lane, but they're trying to... Oh, they don't know. Okay. They don't have a ward at that bush. That could be a really dangerous spot for for El Paso, and then Aria the Quadra just gonna saunter on by, go back to jungling and trying to scale up. And exactly what we said should happen is happening. We have that Warwick 1-0-1 with only 3 CS down, so he has a substantial gold lead already, as well as that early team out for that extra proc of damage on the activatable ability. And
he's making waves in the other lanes too. As a jungler, it helps to get kills, especially if you're with a carry-oriented jungler, but really spreading the wealth, something he's doing well. He's hit top lane, he's hit bottom lane. We can probably expect to have a gank coming mid lane soon, considering how Syndra is probably a little bit better at pushing than Galio is.
Yeah, we actually have this this wave pushing in. It's going to be pushing in favor of Thor in the mid lane, and he is going to put some vision down. But he is level 6. He has that level advantage versus Elvin. All right, never mind. She just hit 6. But the point is,
and it's equalized.
That the real point is that Maximum Magnus is right about to hit level 6 with that infinite duress, and is probably going to lay some beat down because, as they probably know, Ari the Quadra is a little bit behind right now, and here comes the Jarvan gank. A little bit
looking to the mid lane.
Telegraphed, though. I think tower vision is just a little bit too strong on that side.
But you can really see that El Paso is really transitioning their gold lead right now into a vision lead. Across the river, you can see those 3 pink wards set up. They got a lot of vision. They know really wherever the Sejuani could be. You know, if they pop up in one river, you know, you got a pretty good eyesight on them.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see another attempt on this gank. Slant Lord. Not with that Cataclysm, but Elvin is looking for that roam bot. Maybe a 4-man bot coming in. There is no teleport for Terrat Moon still, and Slant Lord has his teleport back because he did cancel it that last fight. And here we go.
And the Galio does have the heroic entrance if it need be. There's no real gap closer for Syndra though, and so she won't be able to do much standing behind the wall.
Yeah, she has to rely on that engage from Tarek as well as Sejuani, but they look to back off right there. Tristana, a little bit too strong at pushing. You know, natural pusher with that E passive, little AoE splash, and it looks like Terrat Moon's catching Slant Lord out on this fight, but is it really Terrat Moon catching Slant Lord, or is it the other way around? Because, oh, he trades the kill, but has to burn the flash again. And Elvin coming in, trying to clean this up. Warwick does have double buff, so he's going to be healing away on that passive, but Ari comes in.
Up to get him.
He reads the wrong direction, and doesn't look like he'll be able to finish up the kill. It is a Galio. He is melee, and he gets the taunt down, and it looks like he might actually pick up this kill. Warwick coming back, but the ult coming down.
Dangerous, you're gonna get ulted.
The absolute outplay button, and, well, double buff transfer complete onto Galio, onto Thor, but it looks like they're going to be trading the dragon down here. More action coming down, both teleports coming down into the dragon fight. A 4v3, actually a 3v3 because, well, everyone's just going down so fast. This double buff is getting transferred all over the place, and Terrat Moon is running for his life once again. We've seen this just before, and his flash was just burned, so it looks like he may go down. And the flag and drag, and he does force the flash from Slant Lord, but that is a dragon, as well as a lot of vision pressure coming out for El Paso.
They've just been fighting all over the map so far. We had the pressure top lane that ended kind of poorly for El Paso. The Warwick was a little bit greedy with his advancement back onto the Syndra and gave up the kill and transferred over the double buffs. But in the end, it did end up back onto the Galio, and he managed to go bot lane and provide the assistance for that dragon fight to give him the edge.
Yeah, the beauty of that heroic entrance is the range on that thing. He was able to, Thor was able to use that around the top lane to support his teammates and pick up those kills, as well as that double buff, as well as keep that the teleport just for that dragon fight. And as we saw, both teleports coming down at the exact same time, and without that teleport, El Paso probably would have outright lost that fight.
And now that they've gotten that lead on the Galio, he's able to get that Rod of Ages as soon as possible, and that's definitely an item you want to prioritize to get that health, get that mana, and get the AP, which is all three things Galio's in desperate need of to scale into the late game.
And we're seeing the people, El Paso really has their priorities straight here, because we're seeing the people who need to scale up, getting the scaling and getting that gold as early as possible. Work with a 2-1-1 score, with a minor CS differential versus the Sejuani, as well as a 3-0-1 early stacking Rod of Ages, double buff Galio in the mid lane. Never seen a Syndra so scared of a Galio.
Yeah, Syndra with the spacing, she should be able to keep relatively safe in the 1v1, but it's really going to come down to the roaming potential of both of these characters.
Yeah, it didn't look like El Paso actually had the time or the resources to pick up that Wind Dragon, or the Cloud Dragon, excuse me, which was people say it's the worst dragon, but I don't believe that. It's the mobility, the out of combat mobility is so useful, especially for someone as immobile, well, around the map as a Warwick as well as a Galio without the use of his ult or teleport.
And just because it's not giving you strict damage numbers, it doesn't mean that it's not a valuable asset to your team. You know, if you can rotate quicker than the other team, that can mean the difference between a tower and an inhibitor than not having it.
And rotations definitely look to be an important priority for El Paso here, considering their pick comp.
It looks like the Rio Grande is trying to give a little bit more focused bot side, but no, we got the Jarvan jumping in. Unsurprising, the Maokai getting some good hits in.
On Terra Moon, as well as the Infinite Duress, it looks like he's going to be going down here. No flash as per that last dragon fight, and now they're fully able to get that tower and map pressure with this Rift Herald coming down. Will we see Slant Lord go support his boy on doing the Rift Herald? Looks like he actually might be able to. Actually, he's walking away from it because of the threat of a counter dragon as well as a gank down bot. Their team is playing pretty split right now.
As soon as Rio Grande saw that the jungler was staying topside, they knew that they had to force something bot side.
Yeah, scaring them off that Rift Herald, but Slant Lord knew right away, so he's already beating away at that tower. No teleport available for Terra Moon, so he's going to have to endure that entire check, watching Slant Lord beat down his first tower, and it looks like first tower gold is going to go down to him. Maybe he might be in time, let's see. But Maximum Magnus already aware of this, fully aware of this, as well as the blue buff coming up, and is right there behind his boy to cover this tower pressure.
If they can get this blue buff away from the Sejuani, that's going to be the second blue buff that they've stolen from her. The Jarvan was pretty smart and saw that the Sejuani was bot side when the blue was up, and he was able to steal it. And it looks like, once again, the Warwick this time will be coming in, will be stealing that blue buff. And Sejuani is really starting to get behind in this fight.
Yeah, we'll have to see how far Maximum Magnus pushes this jungle lead. I'm sorry I ever said I doubted you, Maximum Magnus, because he is making it work. 3-1-1 with terrifying pressure all over the map.
I would be very surprised if he didn't get Boots of Mobility next to keep up the pressure. No
exactly.
Gone yet, but we have a fight breaking out bot side.
Yeah, looks like they're going to disengage. Ruby? He didn't really quite get the memo about the back off. Getting a little bit poked down by those feathers by the Reclaimer. And this bot lane's decently even. Both bot lane with 1 kill. Besides the assists on Xayah, Tristana does have a 5 CS lead on her. And the pressure from that Sejuani might be making a difference down there. She has shown up a lot. Not quite any successful ganks, but just overall pressure down in that bot lane.
While she's given the pressure, she's given, she's providing pressure for the bot side. She's letting up a lot of other things around the map. And so, since she spent so much time in the bot side, they are able to steal the blue. They are able to get vision control on the top side of the river. And now, they don't know where the Warwick is and might be able to set up for a lane gank if he's smart enough about it.
Oh yeah, we are going to see this lane counter gank. We might see Slant Lord just overextend a little bit on purpose, but it looks like he's going to opt for the mid lane. Alright, the Quadra going to opt towards that mid lane, but it's probably not a good idea. I'm not really sure what they intend to do about this Thor. Maybe they should have the Tristana come down and rotate towards that mid lane to pressure it more. And we see the gank going down here. The Cataclysm and the Flash is forced out from Terra Moon. Terra Moon has not spent a single minute of this game with his Flash on him for an offensive play. And look at this. Just as what I was just about to say, Thor is way too tanky at this point. A 3-0-1 and the Flash taunt, as well as the Infinite Duress from Maximum Magnus. And they're gonna get that Sejuani pick perfectly. But
oh, can he get the return kill?
Oh, Elvin actually does get the retribution kill, and Maximum Magnus
might be able to get away too, unless the red buff stops him.
Yeah, no summoners for her, as well as no heal or flash in that situation. And Slant Lord in the top lane, gonna try and go for this first tower gold. All solo, first tower gold, right to him, 650 gold. What a massive lead for the top lane as well.
It's quite a chunk of change to add on top of a winning lane. He looks like he's trying to complete a Black Cleaver at this point and, start shredding some of that armor that Maokai's just trying to scrape together at this point.
Yeah, that 0, 1, and 7 score coming out for Slant Lord. 7 assists. what a strong top lane jungler duo. It looks like they just have their synergy figured out. It looks like these players have a lot of experience together because of those counter ganks, those lane ganks, and overall really good capitalization on blowing Terra Moon's flash like 3 times in a row so far this game. 16 minutes, that means 3 flashes have been allowed for Terra Moon, and all of them are gone.
They've really made their top lane a non-factor. They've made Rio Grande's Valley's top lane not much of a factor. He does have his teleport up at this point. They could try and set up to take that that dragon objective, but until they get a lot of vision, some pink wards down there, I don't see that that's going to be happening anytime soon.
Yeah, that's the thing you were saying about that that pressure down the bot lane. They see Sejuani down there a lot, and it might be, you know, paving a little bit of a way for the Tristana Taric duo to be scaling up down there. However, they haven't really been capitalizing on the jungle objectives at all. They've been controlling that space, but that Cloud Dragon is still up, still sitting pretty right there, and has not really been touched at all or contested over. And just as we're saying about objectives, a lot of pings going down onto the Rift Herald, and it looks like El Paso really opting for a lot of map pressure right now. Jeez, look how much damage that Galio does. It is incredible how much a tanky... an engage going down bot lane. A 3v2 coming down. Are the Quadra finally lands a really good Glacial Prison, but a perfect dodge by the Reclaimer onto all of that CC. Call of the Guardian coming down, and Thor is looking for that taunt. Catches Are the Quadra, burns flashes on all of them. Stopwatch coming out from the Tristana, but he gets fling on every single one of them. But Syndra's a little bit late to the fight. This is a scattered fight all over the place. 5v2, 5v3, and it looks like everyone's going to be going down. Wow, actually really turning around that fight. Rio Grande Valley. Looks like they'll be opting for that dragon right now. Silent Lord did not have that teleport, as Terra Moon actually was just down there. He didn't even burn the teleport, he just rotated very well. And the beautiful engage from Mario the Quadra right there with that Glacial Prison.
With Rio Grande Valley, they stuck to their guns. They stuck bot side. They kept trying to apply the pressure. They understand that, you know, we're not going to be able to do anything against this Jarvan. He's too strong at this point. Let's focus somewhere else. They kept trying to force a fight, and after a couple missed ultis in previous engages, Sejuani finally lands that ultimate in combination with the stun by Taric. They're able to turn it into a pretty big win for them.
And they're right back with that gold difference. Only down 1,500 gold as of now. Crawling their way back into the game with more plays like that. That's what they're looking for. It is hitting around mid-game now, which is exactly what they're looking for. That team comp and kind of wombo comp, honestly, oriented team. We might be seeing that Tristana taking into effect right now, especially because of those early kills right there.
And while there's been a lot of fights, there hasn't been a lot of objectives taken so far. There's been one tower that's gone down, and that was the first Drake to finally go down. And so it's interesting. Whenever they are leaving a fight, it seems like whichever team came out ahead was walking away limping. There hasn't been any true, conclusive winners when it comes to these fights, and as such, the objectives show.
And a little bit of a funny business hook coming down on Tari the Quadra. They know that she really wants to be focusing on that bot lane. Look at all the wards down there. There's not nearly as much ward coverage for the rest of the map. Unlike El Paso, really doing well with the vision coverage all over the map, and I'm kind of surprised they haven't opted for this Rift Herald just yet.
They're going to need to start to make a play on that, but actually, no, now that we say that, time's up for the Rift Herald. That ship has sailed.
Yep. And it looks like Maximum Magnus trying to answer that Sejuani pressure bot. Meanwhile, she is in the mid lane, in the top jungle, giving Elvin that blue buff, and we're going to see an engage here. The minion wave is gone. Avada Kedavra looking for the hook. Might be telegraphing it a little bit, but those mobility boots making engaging really tricky to see for Rio Grande Valley.
You're absolutely right about that, but their Thresh he's being very smart with the way he's zoning the lane. So he's trying to get those angles that way to catch, you know, Rio Grande out for those big fights that they're looking for.
Yeah, we are seeing the top lane island effect coming into play, where they just kind of 1v1 around the map together. and nothing really is happening, where all the focus is going to a bot lane now. I think both teams have realized that the strength of this game is going to rely on their bot lanes, because Tristana is scaling up already kind of
Pretty
tied
heavily.
in terms. Yeah, she's tied in terms of items versus the Xayah, but in terms of overall scaling in the game, she's going to be outdoing that Xayah in most of these team fights now if they are 5v5s. It looks like Infinite Duress, as well as Glacial Prison going down in the same fight, getting knocked up around against the wall, but the taunt is coming in, and the Cataclysm onto 3 different people, but Cosmic Radiance coming down onto the entire team of Rio Grande Valley, and that is what we were talking about in that champ select. But bot lane sitting pretty right below them, falls into a 3-man play. They have no idea what they've gotten. About Cadaver getting caught out, doesn't even have an answer. They're calling right back, and a huge team fight breaking out. But the AoE damage, oh my god, the giant knock-up on all of the team. That fight got turned around so quickly, I could not even process the words in my head. That was incredible. They picked out Avada Kedavra so fast, but they used all of their resources on just the support, just to catch him out. And little did they know, kind of similar play to that last fight, they funneled down this tiny little corridor versus a Galio, versus a Thresh, and versus a Xayah. So that was that didn't turn out too pretty for Rio Grande Valley.
For Rio Grande to get back in this, they're going to really need to watch the spacing of their fights. The positioning is going to be really important. I believe what you said is true. With the key to those past 2 fights was just the location. When you're going to be fighting in the jungle, you got those long corridors. You can throw those feathers, hit 3 or 4 of the enemy players on the on the team.
Oh, or getting caught out, forced to use the stopwatch, but she does have Glacial Prison down, and will she actually use it? Actually ends up getting caught out by some stun. I didn't see what it was, but a death sentence going down. That's going to miss. That's a 5v3 down in the bot lane. The rest of El Paso collapsing in, but I think they chose right and decided to back off from that fight. Looks like a little bit of a free dragon right here, and nothing Rio Grande is doing about it.
It's when their team is just so strong at this point. They got the Galio. He's completed his 3rd item at this point. Their Xayah has gotten the Quicksilver Sash, so not going to be able to catch her out as easily anymore. They're really just going to have to grit their teeth and take really, really smart fights. They won't be able to force anything for a while.
Yeah, we'll have to see the full team utility come out. I think it's a little bit, not too late for the team comp to come out, but they do have to hold back, turtle a little bit. They're actually doing perfectly right now, which is, I don't know what they're doing, but whatever they're doing is working, because El Paso is not pushing with that Baron that they had, and it is running out. The clock is ticking, and that Baron is kind of just being wasted away on that team, not really pushing the advantage. So,
not a single person on Rio Grande's team could 1v1 any person on the other team, except for maybe the Syndra. The Syndra could catch out the ADC, but they really need to be pushing these lanes with that Baron buff to extend the lead.
Yeah, and the Baron buff clock is ticking. Looks like Slandlord is realizing that and pushing down that path for the top lane for all of the team to collapse, but we really need to see a full-on open team fight from Rio Grande, because that's the only way they'll win. They can't really fight in these small corridors like they have been, but a hook going down onto Arthur Quadrant, not a full engage, but Maximum Magnus is looking hungry with this Infinite Duress, and a Lantern coming out. Looks like they're going to disengage from this one. They need to push this ward line down, as well as push that outer tower down. The tower's looking pretty weak.
Yeah, the hitbox of that big boar Sejuani is riding definitely saved that fight. He was going for the Tristana, but just barely clipped the tusk of the boar.
Yeah, Kedavra landing all of the death sentences. Kind of a sniper with this hook coming out. Imagine someone lassoing you, except with a giant metal chain. It's pretty terrifying, especially when he's being this accurate in this game.
Every 7 seconds.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And we actually see, because of that Baron play, besides the pushing and besides some of the lacking pressure, we have a tremendous 10,000 gold lead coming out from El Paso.
It's at this point, as we were mentioning before, they just gotta turtle up. They gotta keep the lanes pushed, but they can't really extend out past their turrets. You know, they're starting, or excuse me, El Paso starting to push up the vision, starting to take control of their jungle, keep all their camps, and they're really just going to have to start looking for picks whenever they can.
Yeah, that Baron buff is depleted on the side of El Paso, so it is kind of the wrong time for this push right here, because now it is a 5v5 around this bottom turret that they look to be going for, but Tristana is starting to scale up with 3 complete items compared to Zaya's 2 items, as well as a ton of crit. Essence Reaver and Static Shift not quite gonna put out the insane DPS with Tristana's Q, as well as Rapid Fire Cannon, Static Shiv, and an Infinity Edge. That's an insane amount of DPS right there.
And Tristana, she's one of the better late game scaling AD carriers, but they managed to get that catch out that they need. But the beautiful Thresh, oh my goodness, he's been a lifesaver this whole game.
Really well placed lanterns and really good positioning overall from Avada Kedavra. A type of hidden boss in this game, honestly. It looks like we've been focusing a lot on Maximum Magnus, but one of the biggest heroes in this game is Avada Kedavra, landing a lot of crucial death sentences and game-changing plays, team fight turning plays. He's a huge part of the reason that they have this 12,000 gold lead and are pressuring this Baron really hard right now.
He's been excellent with the roam. He's been keeping up with all the. Every single time he's backed, I've seen him buy 2 control wards. So he's definitely trying to keep that pressure going.
Oh, a full engage coming down from El Paso, but a lot of their crowd control has missed. The Galio missing, the Cataclysm is gone, but they're still turning this team fight around with that 12,000 gold lead. And it looks like they're going to disengage right here, but you can see just that gold differential. They get to steamroll down mid lane, even where it's more of a safe space for Rio Grande Valley to fight, and they still kind of got rolled over just because of the immense gold lead and utility from all the team.
It's gotten to the point where Tristana's their only true damage. The Syndra's not going to be able to burst down the Galio, their Jarvan, or their their Warwick, and so as soon as you catch up the Tristana, it's really game over until that death timer comes back.
Yeah, Syndra not going to be doing as much damage as she wants. The entirety of Rio Grande Valley's DPS is going to be relying on that Tristana, so we'll have to see if they can play a perfect double lift-esque CLG style protect the Tristana comp.
And it was interesting. You said that from the very beginning, that they do have a very protect the ADC style of comp, but without all the luxuries you'd want from that. You're hoping for a Lulu, something to give yourself some shields, but the really only thing that can truly help their ADC is that Tark. And while he does have the utility, as we've seen, it's clearly not enough to keep him alive.
As well as we have to see, well, we're seeing this because it's kind of necessary. Tristana has to share CS with the rest of the team because of this Baron pressure, because of these towers going down, because of all of these objectives. There's not enough pressure on the map for Rio Grande Valley to farm their own jungle, farm their own lanes efficiently enough to keep all of their players sated. Meanwhile, El Paso is rolling all over the map. Look at this dragon, they're shredding it down and going for more of that mobility and pick potential. And look at Slant Lord, little bush Wookiee right there.
Just collecting any of the standing objectives that they can see. It looks like their Rio Grande is going to try and make a play onto the Galio, but with that Sixth Sense or, that pink ward in the river, he scouts it out and they're telling their team to push bottom.
Yeah, a lot of utility coming out from a lot of bruisers now. Now that the Duskblade has that, well, it's had it for a while, but because of the popularity of the Duskblade, it has that vision clearing passive on it, but an engage coming down from El Paso, it looks favoring to... No, it's actually the same. It's actually the same team fight. Rio Grande Valley kind of just getting rolled over. There's not much they can do right here. Yeah, they just don't have enough DPS, and an amazing engage by Thor, getting a 4-man knockup with that hero's entrance. But the gold lead is just too much. It's almost at 15,000, or actually it is at 15,000 right now. And it looks like this first game is going convincingly to El Paso.
From the start, they were trying to focus on giving the Jarvan a head. They did that, and once, they shut down the Maokai, they were able to make plays elsewhere on the map.
Yep, that is exactly every single thing we listed, everything we were looking for from brilliant play from
El
Maximilian,
Paso.
Maximilian, Magnus. Insane early jungle pressure, going all the way around the map, pressuring all the lanes, and coming out on top. Pushing that early lead as far as possible, getting himself and the Galio fed, as well as Jarvan doing substantially well over the Maokai up in that top lane. I remember at one point in the game he was Slant Lord was 0, 1, and 7 with all of those assists coming out with such great map pressure from Maximum Magnus.
Mm-hmm. And with that, we see El Paso taking game one, and so we're going to be back, going to take a quick intermission, and we'll be ready to go for game two of the series.